Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is T of the FTK Crochet brand, and today we are going to be making the tutorial for this beautiful vest that I'm wearing. I call it the granny square cropped vest because I did it on purpose. I want to pair it with this trouser I made a while back. It's been a long time, so I just decided to make a crop vest that will go exactly with it. It is a step-by-step detailed tutorial, so if you are a beginner, this is something you can actually make for yourself or for a loved one. Alright, but before we go into today's tutorial, I want to ask a question. Have you subscribed to my channel yet? Don't you think you are missing too much not subscribed to this channel? I'm going to give you a minute now to click on that subscription bell below so you do not miss out on any of the tutorials I post on here. Alright, so without further ado, let us get into this tutorial. Okay, so for this project you are going to be needing a whole lot of yarn color. So I'm just using my scrap yarns. As you can see, I've actually used my winder to actually wind them together. So the yarn I'm using is an acrylic yarn and it's 2-ply. So I'm going to be putting 2 strands together to create 4-ply, because if one strand is 2-ply, putting 2 together is going to be 4-ply. So automatically it's going to be an acrylic 4-ply yarn that I'm using for this, but you can go ahead to use any yarn that you feel comfortable using. All right, but my base color is going to be the blue color. All right, so you are going to need your scissors, you are going to need some stitch markers on this one, you are going to need a measurement tape, very important, and then you are going to need a tapestry needle to weave in your ends when you're done with your work. And then on this one, I'm going to be working with a 4mm hook size. All right, so let us get into it. Okay, so the measurement you're going to need for this project is your bust measurement and the length that you want your vest to be on. All right, so for this one, I'm going to be doing my bust measurement as 40. All right, because I want it a little bit bigger, because normally my bust is 39. Okay, so I'm going to be doing 40. So for this one now, I ended up doing exactly 5 inches, as you can see. So this 5 inches is 1 2 3 4 5 rows. All right, that's what gave me the 5 inches. So if I'm going to be doing 40 inches around my bust, I will need 4 in front, because 4 in front is going to be giving me 20, and 4 at the back is going to be giving me 20. That will give me 40 altogether. So you go ahead now to do your own measurements and know what you are going for. But if you are following my exact size, then let us get into it. All right, so the first step now is actually creating this granny square. So if you're familiar with the granny square, then you can just go ahead to create this for yourself. But those of you that are not, then let us start. Okay, so to begin, you are going to be making a magic ring, just like this, and you're going to chain up 3, 2 and 3. And on this magic ring, you are going to be putting 2 more double crochet to create your first cluster. Just like this. All right, and now you are going to chain up 1, and on this same magic ring you are going to be going in with another cluster by putting in 3 double crochet. That is what is referred to as a cluster. All right, and now chain up 1, and on that same magic ring you are going to be going in with another cluster, because on this magic ring we are going to be putting in 4 clusters. So that is going to make up our very first row. So to close on this row 1 now, you're just going to chain up 1, and then you're going to do a slip stitch on the very chain 3 stitch that you started with right here. Just like this, and then chain up 1, and then you're going to cut off this yarn because we are going to be switching to the other color. All right, so this is our row 1. which is this one that we did here. All right, so now for the row 2, you're going to be picking any other color. So me, I'm going to be going with this wine color. Okay, so now you're just going to reattach your yarn on any of the chain 1 space. So me, I'm just going to go with this space right here, and then chain up 3. 1, 2, and 3. And on this same space now, you're going to be going in there with 2 more double crochet, because the chain 3 is going to be standing as 1 double crochet for us. So that is how you create your first cluster. All right, so chain up 1, and on this same space now, we are going to be creating our first corner. So on this same space, you are going to be going in there with another cluster. All right, so we just created our first corner. So you're going to yarn over, go into the next chain 1 space, and then you're going to go in there with a cluster, your first cluster. Chain up 1, and then you're going to be going in there with the second cluster to create the second corner. All right, and now you're going to yarn over and go into the next chain 1 space right here and create your next corner. 1, 2, and 3, and then you are going to chain up 1 and go into that same space again with another cluster to create the third corner, and 3. All right, so now we are going to be doing our last corner right here. Okay, so yarn over, go in there now with your first cluster, 2, and then 3, and then you're going to chain up 1, and inside that same space you're going to be going in there with another cluster. That is how we create our corner. All right, so now you are going to be doing a slip stitch to end this row on the chain 3 stitch that you started with right here, just like this, and then you're going to chain up 1 and cut off this yarn, because we're going to be switching to another color of yarn. All right, and then tie. So this is our row 2. So as you can see now, our square is coming to light. All right, so for my third color, I'm going to be using a pink color. All right, so you're going to be reattaching your yarn on any of the spaces. So I'm going to be reattaching my yarn right here and chain up 3. 1, 2, 3, and don't forget this chain 3 is going to be standing as 1 double crochet for us. So on this same space, you are going to be going in there with 2 more double crochets to create our very first cluster. And don't forget, this is a corner. So to create the corner, you know what to do. You chain up 1, and on that same space, you are going to be going in there with another cluster to create our corner. So as you can see now, this is not a corner. Okay, so this is a side. What we are just going to do now, you're just going to put just 1 cluster on this side. 1, 2, and 3. All right, so now as you can see, this is another corner, because this corner happens to be where we do our increases. That is why you see the square is as big as this. These are the corners that creates the increases that makes it go bigger. Okay, so now we are at another corner. You're just going to yarn over, go into this corner now with your first cluster. And on that same corner, you're going to chain up one and go in with another cluster on same space. All right, so this is it. And as you can see now, this is a side, so we're just going to go in there with just one cluster. So this is basically how you create the granny square. All right, so this is how you do it. So when you get to a corner, you know you are going to be creating the corner by putting in one cluster, chain up one, and another cluster. Then when you get to a side, you just put one cluster that will take you to the other corner. Okay, so this is how you continue doing it until you get the rows that you want. When I'm done with mine, I'll come back to show you and tell you what we're going to be doing next. All right. Okay, so I'm done with my first square. Okay, my second square. All right, so these are the colors I ended up choosing to make. So now that I have two of these squares, I'm going to be making two more to create the first one. So this is how it's going to be. For my length, I'm going to go for 15. And then for the width is going to be 20. All right, so in order to get 20 for the width, I'm going to be doing 4 on the row, and then to get the length as 15, I'm going to be doing 3 of this granny square. Okay, all right, so now I'm done with the back panel, and like I told you, I did 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 granny squares all together, because now 4 of the granny square on the width is giving me 20 inches, and the length now is giving me exactly 15 inches for the granny squares, which I am actually going for. All right, so now we are done with our back panel. Okay, so the next step now is going to be working on the front panel. All right, so let us get into that. Okay, so for the front panel, we are going to be doing some things differently. All right, so you know, for the back panel, we did 1 2 3 4 5 rows on the granny square. Yeah, so for the first 2 rows for the front panel, we are not going to be making up to the 5 rows. We are going to end on the 4 rows. Okay, we are going to be doing 4 rows for the arm area, just like this. But it's not going to be just the 4 rows. We are going to be adding just one like this on top, so that it will get the length, but for the arm, we are going to have like a little bit of space on this side. All right, don't worry, as we go, I will be explaining it bit by bit. But for now, the first 2 rows of the front panel, we are going to be stopping on 4 rows. And when you do, you're just going to be putting 1 row on just one side of the granny square. So that's for the arm area. Then for the neck area, we are going to be making a triangle. All right, we are going to be making 2 triangles because we want it to come out here and here for the neck line. All right, this is going to be for the neck area, then this is going to be for the arm area. All right, so let us go into making these things. I'm going to be starting with this one. I just want to show you how I put just 1 row on top right here after the 4 rows of granny square. Okay, all right, so you are going to pick any of the corners. So I'm going to be using this corner right here, and then you are going to reattach your yarn on that corner, and then you are going to chain up 3. All right, so on that same corner, you are going to be putting in 2 more double crochet to create a cluster. So right here, since we are not making it a square, you are not going to be creating a corner. You are just going to be leaving just one cluster right here. Okay, and now you are going to yarn over, go into the next space right here, and go in with another cluster. 1 2 and 3, and go into the next space and create the next cluster. And into the next space, you're going to put in another cluster. And now we are at the corner here again. So exactly how we started here, that is how we are going to be ending here. So you're just going to put just one cluster in that corner space. 2 and 3. All right, so chain up 1, and then you're going to cut off the yarn just like this, and then you tie. So this is what you are going to do for four of the granny squares. Okay, so I'm done creating the 4 squares, and as you can see, our front panel is taking shape already. All right, so the next step now is going to be showing you how to make this triangle shape. So the first parts of the front panel will be ready. All right, so let us get into that. Okay, so to begin on this triangle, you are going to be making a magic ring, just like this. All right, so now to begin, you are going to chain up 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so on this magic ring, you are going to be going in there with a cluster. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. So don't forget, our cluster is made of 3. Okay, so this chain 3 now is going to be standing on its own. Okay, so now you are going to chain up 1, and you are going to go into that same magic ring with another cluster. 1, 2, and 3. All right, so now that we have 2 clusters, you are going to chain up 1, and then on that same magic ring, you're just going to be going in there with 1 double crochet, just like that. So you know, in the beginning we chained up 3 before we started with our first cluster, and then chain up 1 with our next cluster, and at the end we had to end it like we begin it here. Chain up 1 and put in 1 double crochet. Okay, so this is our round row 1. So just draw the strand at the bottom to tighten it up, and then you are going to cut off this yarn because we're switching to our next yarn color. So this time around, I think I'm going to go with a darker color. So let me go with a dark pink. Okay. Okay, so now to start on the row 2, you're just going to reattach your yarn on the very first stitch right here. So just because I want all of them to face the top, I'm going to be starting from here. So you remember this chain 3 stitch we started with on the previous row. You are going to go into the 3rd stitch right here, and that is where you're going to reattach your yarn. Please just watch what I'm doing, okay? So just reattach your yarn here and then chain up 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and now you see this space right here before the cluster. You are going to be going in there with 3 double crochet, which is 1 cluster. 1, 2, and 3. All right, so now you're going to be going into this chain 1 space right here. You are going to be going there with our first cluster. 1, 2, and 3. And then you're going to chain up 1, and on that same space, you are going to be going there with another cluster, because this happens to be our one and only corner on the triangle shape. So maybe we should call this one granny triangle. It's not a granny square, it's a granny triangle. All right, so now you're going to yarn over, and you see this space here, this chain 1 space. You're going to be going in there with a cluster. 1, 2, and 3. All right, so now to end it, you remember we did a chain 3 here to create the space. We are going to be doing exactly the same thing right here. So you are going to chain up 1, and then you are going to go into the very last stitch here. This is our double crochet, previous double crochet stitch. You are going to be going in there with just 1 double crochet to end this row. All right, so now that is our row 2. Okay, so now you are going to be cutting off this yarn because we are going to be changing the yarn color. But so far, as you can see, you see the triangle is taking place already. All right, so now for our 3rd row, I'm going to be going with the gray color. Okay, let's use gray. All right, so as usual, you are just going to do your normal slip knots and reattach your yarn at the very chain 3 stitch here where we started with. Okay, so now you're going to go into the very chain 3 stitch, reattach your yarn right there and chain up 3. 1, 2, and 3. And on that space right here, you are going to be going in there with your first cluster. 1, 2, and 3. All right, so now this is another space. You are going to be going in there with another cluster. 2, and then 3, and that has taken us to our corner. All right, so on this corner, you know what to do. You're going to put in your very first cluster, then chain up 1, and on that same space you're going to put in 1 more cluster to continue our corner. All right, so on the next space you're just going to go in there with just 1 cluster, and on the next space right here you're going to go in with the cluster, our very last cluster right here. And now you are going to chain up 1 and you are going to do a double crochet on the very last stitch here, the previous double crochet stitch at the very end, to end on this row. Excuse me. All right, so now we are on our row 3. We are done with our row 3, sorry. So you chain up 1, and then we are going to be cutting off this yarn so we can switch to our next color. All right, so you already know what to do. You did chain 3 and we started with here. You're just going to go into that stitch, and then you are going to reattach your yarn and chain up 3 again, 2 and 3, and on the very space just after that chain 3 you are going to be going in there with your very first cluster, 2 and 3. All right, and then on the next space you're just going to be going in there with another cluster. So you already know what to do to create your triangle, so just keep doing this. On the next space you go in with your normal cluster, and then when you get to where the corner is, our triangle corner, this part, you are going to go in with 1 cluster, chain up 1, and just exactly what we've been doing. Keep creating it until you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so like I told you, we've been, for the square we did 5, so for the triangle too you are going to do exactly 5. All right, okay, so as you can see the arrangement now, our front panel is ready. Okay, but in this case now, this is this length that I want for my own. All right, but if you know you want yours longer, you just have to add more of the granny square at the bottom. Okay, but for the top, this is the arrangement you need. So this is what you need to do on the top parts of the front panel, but if you want to make it longer, you can just continue adding granny squares to the bottom to make a longer vest for yourself. All right, so now the next step is going to be joining our squares together. Okay, so I'm going to be starting the joining from the front with the front panel. All right, but I'll advise before you start joining yours together, make sure you pick the colors that you want to be in front and pick the colors that you want to be at the back. Okay, so make sure you go ahead to do that, and make sure you spread them on either your table or the floor, wherever you know that it's going to be comfortable for you when you start sewing them together. All right, because that's the method that we're going to be using to join our squares together, sewing method. So to begin that one, you are going to get a very long strand, not very long, just something long enough that you can use to start on the joining. Okay, and then you are going to insert your yarn on your tapestry needle, like I told you. So now we are going to be starting the joining from this very beginning here. Okay, so a little bit of correction before we start sewing. So these parts, make sure that you are sewing these two together. All right, so the places where we put the extra one row is going to be facing each other like this. All right, so now to begin, you are going to be going into the very first corner here, and then you are going to pass the needle through the bottom on the very first corner. This first stitch right here, that's where you are going to go into, and make sure you leave a tail at the bottom because that's what you will tie it with. Okay, and then you are going to take the second granny square and go into the stitch that you went here. You're going to go in there with the very first stitch just after the corner. Okay, and then you're going to go through the bottom and then drag it out just like this. All right, so you're going to come back to this square and go in through the bottom on the next stitch, and then you're going to go into the next stitch right here on this square, and then you're going to go in through the bottom. All right, so this is just exactly how you join your squares together. Okay, then come here again and do exactly the same thing. Make sure you do not miss any stitch, okay? So in order to join this side, you are going to be going in here now, and you are going to be picking the very corner stitch, which is this middle part. So instead of going into this part, you are going to pick the stitch, the chain one stitch that is here, just like this. Please just watch what I'm doing closely, okay? Because this is how you are going to be joining all of the corners. I want you to see how we join the corner flawlessly. All right. So after taking that, you are going to come back to these parts again, and you are going to be taking the same middle stitch, which is the chain one stitch right here on this corner, just like this. So now we've connected these two together. So now we are going to be going into the triangle shape now and pick the very chain one stitch right here, which is the corner. Make sure it's the chain one stitch that you're picking from here, and then you're going to secure that part just like this. All right, so as you can see, it's all joined together. You continue sewing your own. Now I'm going to be going off camera to sew all of my squares together, and I'll come back to show you how it's looking and what we're going to be doing next. All right. Okay, so I'm done joining all of my squares together, and as you can see, this is the back and this is the front. And I took the opportunity to actually weave in all of my ends as well. That is a lot of work. All right, so the next step now is going to be joining our front panel to our back panel. All right, so let us get into that. So to join it together, we are going to be doing the granny stitches as well. Okay, so get your yarn. And then you are going to be reattaching your yarn on the back panel. Okay, so this is where we are supposed to begin. You see where the stitch marker is now, just after the corner stitch. Please just watch what I'm doing carefully, okay? So you're going to remove the stitch marker from here. Okay, so this space now on the back panel, you are going to go in there, and that is where you're going to insert your yarn. That is where you're going to reattach your yarn. And then you're going to chain up one right here. Okay, and now you are going to be picking your front panel here. So you see this corner part on your front panel now, that is where you are going to be doing your first cluster. 1, 2, and 3, just like this. Okay, so now you are going to remove your hook from here and then go to the back panel, go into the next space on the back panel and put your hook there, and take the loop from the front panel now, just like this, and then chain up 1. Okay, then yarn over and come to the next space on the front panel again and do a cluster. All right, and then remove your hook from here, go to the back panel to the next space. Hope you're seeing what I'm doing, and then pick the loop and then chain up 1. All right, then yarn over, come back to the next space right here and do a cluster. All right, so this is how you join the shoulder together. It's just as easy as that. Okay, let me show you how it's looking. You see how the clusters are aligning. So this is what you are going to be doing. All right, so now you go to the next space right here, you just pull out the loop from here, and then you are going to chain up 1, as easy as this, and come back to the next space here and just create a cluster. All right, so this is how you join the 2 shoulders together. So I'm going to be going off camera now to do my own 2 shoulders, and when I come back, I'll show you how it's looking and what we're going to be doing next. All right. Okay, so I'm done joining the shoulders, and this is how it's looking. All right, so the next step now is going to be joining the sides together. Okay, so the joining of the sides is going to be exactly how we joined the body together. All right, you know how you join all of the squares together? That is exactly the same way we are going to be joining these sides together. Okay, so for this one, you already know what to do. So I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to join my sides together. Okay, so I'm done joining the sides, and this is how it's looking. You see how neat it looks. So I've done the 2 sides, and this is how it came out. All right, so now the next step is going to be working on our neck area. Okay, so to start on that neck area, we are going to be reattaching our yarn at the back here. Okay, and then you're going to chain up 1, because on this part now we are going to be doing a single crochet all across the neck area. All right, so now on the next stitch now we are going to be going in there with a single crochet. All right, so to mark where our first stitch is, I always like to work with my stitch marker, but if you do not have a stitch marker, you can just get a tiny bit of yarn from the one you've been using and just put it there to make sure you know where you started from. All right, so now on the next stitch you're just going to be going in there with a single crochet. So on each of the stitches, just keep putting in one single crochet until you get to the very middle here. Okay, so when I get here, I'll come back to show you how we are going to do our first decrease here. So as you can see, you see these parts now on the front parts. I've been putting in two single crochet on each of these spaces, and then when I got to this middle here, I put in just one single crochet and two single crochet on the spaces. So now we are at the end here now. So as you can see, this is another space at this ending here, so we are supposed to go in with two single crochets here, but just watch what I'm doing carefully to create our first decrease right here. Okay, so on this space now you're going to go in with one single crochet, and then the next single crochet that will make it two, you are not going to finish it. Now that you have two on your hook, you are now going to go into the next space on the other side and go in there and do a single crochet, and now you pull out all three loops. So that is how you do the decrease. And on this same space now you're going to be going in there with a single crochet. So now you have two single crochets here and two single crochets here with a decrease in the middle. Okay, so now you continue working your single crochet as you go on each of the spaces. Just keep putting in two single crochet, just like this. All right, so you are going to be doing this until you get to the end here. Okay, and when I come back, I'll show you how it's looking and what we're going to be doing next. All right. Okay, so I've gotten to the end of the single crochet row, and as you can see, this is how it's looking. All right, so to end it here now, I'm just going to remove my stitch marker from here. And that very first stitch now, that is where we're going to be doing a slip stitch to end on this row, just like this. All right, so now to start on the row 2, you're going to chain up 3, 1, 2 and 3. So this 3 now is going to stand as one double crochet, because now we are going to be going all around with double crochets. All right, so yarn over, and on the next stitch you're going to be going in there with a double crochet, and on the next stitch you're going to be going in there with a double crochet. So you go ahead now to put in one double crochet on each of the stitches until you get to the middle, because we are going to be doing another decrease on this V part, this middle stitch parts. All right, so when I get here, I'll come back to show you how we are going to be doing our next decrease. Okay. Okay, so I've gotten to the middle part again, so I just want to show you how we are going to be doing our next decrease with our double crochet right here. Okay, so now as you can see, I've gotten to the end here now after putting in one double crochet on each of the stitches. So the two stitches that are here now, you are going to yarn over and go into this first stitch. Please just watch what I'm doing carefully. Okay, go into this first stitch, pull out a loop. Now that you have 3 on your hook, yarn over, pull out 2 loops. Now that you have 2 on your hook, you yarn over and go into the next stitch right here, pull out a loop. Now that you have 4 on your hook, yarn over and pull out 2 loops. Now that you have 3 on your hook, yarn over and pull out all 3 loops. All right, so this is how you do the decrease with the double crochet. Okay, so now you continue putting in one double crochet on each of the stitches as you go. All right, until you get to the very end here where we started from, and when I get here, I'll come back to show you what we're going to be doing next. All right. Okay, so I've gotten to the end of the double crochet row now, which is our row 2. So to end on it, you're going to be going into the chain 3 stitch and the chain 3 stitch here where you started from. You do a slip stitch on that chain 3 stitch just to end this row. All right, so now to begin the next row, which is our row 3 for the neck area, you're going to chain up 3, 1, 2 and 3. So this chain 3 is going to be serving as our first double crochet. So now you are going to yarn over. So now we are going to be doing a front post and back post double crochet. Okay, so this row we are going to be starting with a front post on the next stitch, just like this. And now the next stitch is going to be going with a, we are going to be going with a back post double crochet. All right, just like this. So by now you should be familiar with the front post and the back posts double crochet. But if you are not, let me take it slowly so you can understand what I mean. Okay, so the front post, back post double crochet, this is how you do it. So now you yarn over on this next stitch. You see this stitch right here. Now you are going to go from the bottom and pick it out and do a double crochet just like this. So this is how you do a front post, and to do a back post you yarn over. So instead of taking the next stitch now from the front, you are going to go through the back and take it like this and do a double crochet. Just as simple as that. Okay, so you go ahead now on this row to do a front post and a back post double crochet all around. All right, on this row we are not going to be doing any decreases. Okay, so you go ahead now to do it all around, and when you get here I'll come back to show you what we're going to be doing next. All right, okay, so I'm at the end of the row 3 now. All right, so now to begin on the row 4, you are going to chain up 3, 1, 2 and 3. All right, so don't forget this chain 3 is going to be serving as 1 double crochet for us. All right, so this stitch now where you did the previous front row double crochet, front post double crochet, sorry, you are going to be going in there with a front post double crochet just like this. And on the next stitch where you did the back post double crochet on the previous row, you are going to be going in there with a back post double crochet. So it's basically repeating exactly what you did on the 3rd row, but this time around putting in the front row double crochet where you put the previous front row, and the back post double crochet where you put the previous back post. Okay, so you are going to be doing that all around the neck area, and I'll meet you here to show you what we're going to be doing next. All right, okay, so I'm at the end of the row 4, and this is how it's looking. I'm going to be stopping here now. I'm just going to be doing the 4 rows. So you remember we started with a single crochet row and a double crochet row, then just 2 rows of front post and back post double crochets. All right, so all together we have 4 rows on the neck area. So I'm going to be stopping here. Okay, so I'm just going to chain up 1 and cut off my yarn. All right, so we are done with the neck area. All right, so the next step now is going to be working on the arm area. Okay, so to begin on the arm area, we are going to be doing just 1 row of the granny stitch on this very front panel on these parts. All right, so to begin that one, you are going to be reattaching your yarn just here. Please just watch what I'm doing closely, okay? So you see this place we joined now. You are going to be going into this corner right here at the back panel, because we are going to be making it only on the front panel. So to begin it, you're going to go into this corner where we did the joining, and then you're going to chain up 1. All right, so now you are going to yarn over, and now you are going to be going into the space on the front panel, which is this part we joined now, the very first corner here. That is where you're going to be going in with your first cluster. All right, so now on the next space, you keep on putting your normal clusters. All right, and when you get to the shoulders here where we did the shoulder joining, I'll come back to show you how we are going to end it. All right, so I'm at the shoulder now. So as you can see, I've put in my last cluster right here. So to end on this row, we are going to be putting one more cluster on this part that we did the joining. All right, so we are going to be putting in a cluster on that space. 1, 2, and then 3. All right, so to end on this row, you're just going to be doing a slip stitch inside the space, this chain 1 space here. All right, and then you're going to chain up 1 and cut off the yarn. And tie it. All right, so here you go. So now you are going to go ahead to do exactly the same thing we did here on the arm area, exactly the same thing. So from here now, you are just going to reattach your yarn on the underarm parts here. Then you're going to go around with 1 single crochet, and then the next row you go around again with a double crochet, just exactly what we did on the neck. That is what you are going to be doing on the 2 sides. Okay, so I'm done putting in the rounds on my arm area, and this is how it's looking. So now the next step is going to be working on the bottom area. All right, so if you did yours as long with the additional granny squares, you don't have to do this part that we want to do now. All you just need to do now is just do this this front post and back post we did on the neck and on the hand area. Just do it at the bottom here and you will be done with your own. But for those of you that are doing this crop vest, something like this that ended on just 1, then let us get into it. Okay, so to begin the bottom part, you can just reattach your yarn on the very corner, or you can just go ahead to reattach your yarn any way that you want. But I want to reattach on this corner here so I can show you how we do the decreases on the places that we joined. Okay, so now I'm going to be reattaching my yarn on this side. Okay, on this space here. Please just watch what I'm doing, okay? So you're going to reattach your yarn there and you're going to chain up 3. 1, 2, and 3. So you know on the spaces we are supposed to be putting in 1 cluster each, but this first row of this bottom part is going to be a little different, okay, because we are going to be doing decreases on the places that we joined. All right, so now this chain 3 is going to be serving as 1 double crochet. So what we are going to do now, we are going to be putting in another double crochet right there. So now that we have 2 to create our cluster, you know we need 3. You are going to be going in there with a 3rd double crochet, but you are not going to finish it, just like this. So now that you have 2 on your hook, you are going to yarn over, and now you are going to go into the next space right here, and that is where you are going to be finishing the double crochet. Okay, so now you are going to be going in here in this space now with 2 more double crochets, just like that. All right, so now you have your 3 here and you have your 3 here. Okay, so now you are going to yarn over and then go into the next space and just keep putting in your clusters as you go. All right, and on the next space you go ahead to put the clusters just like this. I just want to do it to the next place we joined. So okay, we are at the place where we need to join again. Okay, so now you see the 2 where we join now, the 2 spaces here. So what you do is put 2 double crochet on the first space, 1 and 2. So the 3rd one now we are going to be using it to link this one by decreasing. Okay, so go in with your 3rd double crochet, but don't finish it. Now that you have 2 on your hook, yarn over and now go into the next space and do a decrease just there, and then put in 2 double crochet on that same space to complete the cluster. So that is exactly what you are going to be doing as you go. So continue doing that all around, and I will meet you here to show you how we start on our row 2. Okay, so I'm at the end of the row 1 now. All right, so after doing your first slip stitch, you are going to be doing a slip stitch to take you to the next space now, because we are going to be doing another row. Okay, so you do a slip stitch, another slip stitch, then you're going to be doing a slip stitch on this space right here. Then from here now you're going to be chaining up 3, and then on that same space you're just going to be going in with 2 more double crochet to create your first cluster, just like that. And then on the next space you're just going to go in with a cluster. So just keep putting in 1 cluster on each of the spaces as you go, as we've been doing. All right, and this is exactly what you are going to do until you are satisfied with the length that you want on these parts. Okay, so I'm going off camera now to do it, and when I come back I'll let you know the exact row I ended up doing. Okay, so I'm done with the bottom, and I ended up putting 1 2 3 4 rows all together. So this is how it's looking. So this is how I'm going to be leaving it. I like it this way. All right, I also did some finishing touches to both the neck and the arm area. All right, so I had to add 1 more row of the front post and the back post double crochet, and I ended with the single crochet on the neck area, and I did exactly the same thing on the arm area as well. So this is how the entire thing is looking. So it's more of a crop vest than an actual vest. With this, we've come to the end of today's tutorial. I do hope you enjoy watching this video as much as I did making it. If so, please be sure to like the video and share it to your friends and your family who wants to make something as beautiful as this. All right, if you have any questions about this project, feel free to drop it in the comment section and I will be happy to help. All right, and if you've not subscribed to my channel before now, please do so now. You don't want to be missing out on all these beautiful tutorials that I post on here. All right, and make sure you click on that tiny notification bell below so that whenever I post any tutorial just like this, you'll be the first to know. Okay, so until next time, bye bye.